You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB. Football Fever with News Talk ZB's voice of football, Jason Pine and Bonnie Jansen.
Welcome into the latest edition of Football Fever. It is your weekly podcast for all things New Zealand football, Wellington Phoenix men and women, our Kiwis playing overseas, our national teams as well. Heaps to talk about. I'm Jason Pine. Bonnie Jansen's here as well. Hello, Bonnie.
Hey, Piney, how are you?
Very good, very good. Actually, what a start. We'll flip it today. We normally do Kiwis overseas at the end of the podcast, but I wanted to do it first today because I know you were watching your favourite women's team, Arsenal, this morning, up against Aston Villa with an elite in goal for Aston Villa. You were messaging me during this game. How did you assess her performance?
Yeah, an elite was causing my team, Arsenal, as you say, some real problems. She was on absolute fire and, was so impressed with her performance. Aston Villa went up 1-0, and it was kind of 1-1 for much of the match, and because of Annalise just keeping Arsenal out. Obviously they went down 3-1 towards the end of the match, but really, really impressed with her display this morning.
So was she making saves? Was she, taking crosses? Was she commanding her penalty area, or all of that sort of stuff?
It was really one of those standout performances, and Arsenal just had so many shots on goals, shots that amazing shots that should have gone in had an elite, been an average goalkeeper. But as I say, she was just on form, hitting the ones in the corner and just tapping it over the crossbar and doing everything she could. And the goals that eventually went in for Arsenal to get the win were, just too good. But definitely a performance that Yitka would, no doubt have her eye on.
Absolutely. And just on that, because, of course, the Football Ferns are about to face Thailand. This is next month down in Christchurch, 2 games in Christchurch, and Yitka Kumkova has named her squad for that 2-game series. The keepers are Annalise, Vic Essen and Brianna Edwards. Annalise has to be number one now, doesn't she?
Oh, that's what I thought when I was watching this game. Even before this morning, didn't even matter really how she would have performed today. She's been getting lots of minutes for her club as of late, whereas I don't believe Vic Essen has, nor has Brie Edwards, which we know. So there's no reason why heading into the Olympics that Annalise shouldn't have the number one jersey. I think she's getting the most minutes at her club and putting on performances against like the world's best players, the world's best strikers that Arsenal have, Alessia Russo, Beth Mead, and she's blocking shots. And there's no reason why we shouldn't see her in goal, I feel anyway. Yeah,
I think for a long time, and maybe even now, it's Vic Essen and Annalise sort of battling it out for that number one. Brianna Edwards, she's had that one cap that she got in the recent Olympic qualifiers, but she hasn't been playing for the Phoenix lately for personal reasons. You're right. I mean, all national coaches, Darren Bazley's the same, Yitka Klimkova's on record as saying this. The best thing you can do to force my hand is to play well for your club. And that's exactly what Annalise is doing. So, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see her certainly start the first game against Thailand. That's on Saturday the 6th of April. Depending what they do in the second one, they might rotate. But, she's making every post a winner. I've always kind of felt she's had a high ceiling as a goalkeeper. I remember her in that under-17s, when she took that penalty and she had a bit about her, a bit of swagger, which you need as a keeper. I've always thought she's got quite a high ceiling.
No, I agree. And she went over to the WSL quite early and, a few years ago, and she's been in and around that. Obviously, it's one of the best competitions in the world, so she hasn't been getting minutes. But, you see her now, she's stuck in there. She's stuck in there as the Football Ferns number 2 or 3, and now look at her. So, I think she's really bided her time, and now she's really earned her spot. So, I'm excited to see what she can do for us.
You've been pleased that Arsenal won, though.
Yeah, I was.
Look, you're allowed to be happy for both. You're allowed to be happy.
Exactly.
You're allowed to be happy that your team won, but your national keeper had a good game. So good to see Annalise out there. Ria Percival this morning also was prominent for Crystal Palace in their 3-0 win over Watford in the Women's Championship. Ria Percival scoring her first goal for her new club. She's on loan there from Tottenham at Crystal Palace as part of their 3-0 win over Watford. They stay second in the Women's Championship. She's not in that Football Ferns squad. Did you find that odd?
Yeah, no, I spoke with Jitka Klimkova about this when she named her squad, and basically Jitka outlined that we're seeing a similar case with Ria as Abby Ursig did, and Ria's now considering whether she steps away from international football just to focus on playing for a club. So that's a real shame, considering she's been such a stalwart in the Football Ferns team, and she's obviously the co-captain at the World Cup. But yeah, it seems like Ria's making a decision, and she's got to let Jitka know ASAP, because obviously Jitka's trying to build her squad for the Olympic Games.
Indeed. Ellie Riley has made herself available. She's the other co-captain, I guess, so she is there. Ria Percival, we wait to see whether she adds to her record number of caps for the Football Ferns.
Football Fever with Jason Pine and Bonnie Jansen.
Let's go to the Wellington Phoenix. The women played over the weekend. They lost 1-0 away at Canberra. Their road woes continue, and in many ways this is the personification of their season, just a real inability to win on the road. 12 away matches this season, 2 wins, 10 losses. Contrast that to what happens at home. 6 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses in their home games. So it's almost diametrically opposite. It felt really, though, Bon, as though because Wellington knew they couldn't make the 6, that the fizz kind of went out of them ahead of this game. They, much as you say, well, we're just going to try and win the game, they knew that even if they won it, they couldn't make the top 6, and they knew that before kickoff. Yeah,
it's a tough one. It was a real shame. I obviously messaged you after we saw that Western Sydney Wanderers result, and it confirmed the Phoenix fate that they wouldn't make the playoffs. So it is hard to go into a game like that. But at the same time, I feel like there was every reason for them to go out and get a result. They were playing the bottom place team. They had a full strength squad, almost, you could argue, and there's no reason why they still can't end the season on a high. You run through those stats of the losses that they've had across the ditch, and I don't think it's a great look. I think something's going to have to change next season. But then at the same time, I feel for them, because Paul Temple pointed out last week, the schedule has not done them any favours. They've had more away games this side of Christmas, and you don't see that in the men's or women's draw, and it's not helped them and the consecutive games they've had over there. But yeah, I'm in two minds. I think they should have gone out and got a result yesterday, but it's a tough one.
I do remember, though, that it took the Wellington Phoenix men a long time to work it out. I remember from the start, and I just had a quick look back at a couple of their stats from early in their A-League life as well. And listen to this from 2010-11. They made the playoffs this year. They played 16 away games, 2 wins, 2 draws and 12 defeats. They scored 7 goals in 16 away games. But it was their home form where they won 10 of 15 and 3 draws that got them through. It took them a long, long time. And really even now, this season probably bucks the trend in many respects, in that they've only lost 2 of their 12 away games. But it took Wellington Phoenix's men a while to work it out. And I just feel like it might be the same for the women.
True, that's a fair point. And, we're always harsh on a team. I feel like there's more attention on a team when they're not doing well, and I think we need to remember the positives from how well this women's team have had this year, and I don't think their position on the table reflects how good they are, and they've been competitive in matches that they've lost, so it's not all doom and gloom, and as you say, the Wellington Phoenix men took a while to, how long has it taken for them to get where they are on the table now? So yeah, it's a shame. I think it's harder for these Kiwi teams to travel across the ditch as well. That's another factor. They're not just going across state lines or across cities. They're having to go international every time, unlike their opposition. So yeah, a few factors, but I think there's positive signs heading into next season.
Indeed. Just on this game, Mickey Foster and Mariana Speckmeyer had good chances in the first half to score with headers, couldn't. Michelle Heyman almost inevitably scoring Canberra's goal, her 15th of the season for the recently recalled Matildas striker. A couple of bright spots. Liv Ingham made her debut. Olivia Ingham, she's had to come back from an ACL injury. has been in and around the academy for a while, got signed to a scholarship deal and finally got the chance to make it onto the grass. So a special moment for Liv Ingham as she made her debut. So one game to go against Western Sydney Wanderers at home this coming Saturday, 4:00 at Jerry Collins Stadium in Porirua. I think a real opportunity to finish the season on a high, isn't it, Bonnie? To beat a side that will be in the top six in all likelihood and say, actually, we are a good side, and I think there's every motivation for them to finish strongly.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll make their, their parties after the end of the season wraps up, even better if they win on a high, as you say, and they deserve it. They're a good team. They've shown so much potential. A lot of them, are regular Football Ferns now, so there's no reason why they can't go out and get the 3 points and, kind of land in the best position possible on the table at the end of the season.
Yeah, and just a milestone coming up as well, presuming she plays, which is almost certain that she will. Mackenzie Barry will become the first Wellington Phoenix women's player to bring up 50 matches. It's an incredible record, really. This will be the Phoenix's 54th match in their entire history. And Mac Barry's going to be playing 50 of them. She's incredible. Yeah,
I really rate her. I don't know if you saw Piney, I'm sure you would have, but there's going to be an Australia A-League All-Stars men and women's team and playing, Arsenal and West Ham, I think, in the men's. But Mac Barry's being kind of talked about on social media as potentially getting a spot in that women's All-Star team, and I think she'd absolutely deserve it. She's been such a key player for this team, and she's come leaps and bounds, and she's going to be a star in the future for the Football Ferns. Yeah, cornerstone of this team this season, and I think in line as well for the Phoenix Women's Player of the Season, as well as you say, a hopeful call up to the All-Star side as well.
This is Football Fever.
All right, All Whites, they had a game against Egypt on the weekend. Saturday morning it was. A 1-0 loss, controversial penalty, initially not given. Nando Panic has gone in to challenge for the ball in the penalty area. I actually thought he got the ball. So did the referee at first look. But then VAR encouraged the referee to go and have a look on the screen. And it was overturned, penalty given, which Egypt scored from. That was the only thing that separated the two sides. I thought the All Whites gave a pretty good account of themselves, all things considered, against a much higher ranked opposition. It's just this continuation of an inability to score goals. I think that's one now in their last 4 games. That was Matt Garbutt's goal against Ireland last time out. So, again, they're just having a bit of a struggle in front of goal.
Yeah, sounds like we're talking about the Football Ferns. I don't like this trend of us being unable to score. I think the difference is the All Whites to the Football Ferns. They look like they're going to score a little bit more, especially which is great to see against a team which is, significantly higher ranked. We know the All Whites shouldn't be ranked, 103 in the world, but they are for some reason. In terms of that penalty, I think it should have been a penalty, Piney.
Good.
Sorry to disagree with you, but it's a shame, I guess, that something like that separates a game. Because, I thought the All Whites did pretty well. They were maybe missing Chris Wood, but Max Mata was good up top, I thought. Yeah, he had a couple of chances, didn't he, Max Mata? Good to see him flex his muscles at international level. Sarpreet Singh hit the bar with a free kick with about 20 minutes to go. I think Egypt hit the post late on. But the evolution of this team, and I think Darren Bashley said this afterwards, the evolution of this team is to score goals and win games. They are no longer just happy to be on the pitch with sides like Egypt and Tunisia, who they'll play next, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and Ireland and the others they've played recently. They want to score goals against these teams. They want to win matches against these teams. But I guess it's one thing saying it. At some point, they're going to have to start doing it. Exactly. And I think a real a goal for this team, which is absolutely achievable, would be to be, as competitive. I mean, this is a given, but be as competitive as they can be come the World Cup next year. They've got a real shot at going to this World Cup, and it would just, not next year, sorry, the year after, 2026. I think they have every possibility to do that and get out of their group even. So, I think they just need to find that, that click where they can go from creating chances to actually finding the back of the net. Yeah, scoring the goals. Absolutely right. I thought the left side looked really good at times. Libby Kakachi has become some player, hasn't he? He's, he's playing Serie A, one of the top leagues in the world, so you'd expect that, but he
has just become an absolute player. Great to see him skipper the side as well. Sarpreet Singh and he combining well down the left side, which was a lot more productive than the right-hand side. I thought Max Crocombe had a good game in goal. Let me ask you this, though. They played Tunisia on Wednesday. This is a mini tournament, so Croatia beat Tunisia in the other game. So it's Croatia against Egypt in the final, and it's New Zealand against Tunisia for third and fourth, effectively. Goalkeepers. We talked about Football Ferns goalkeepers before. Would you give one of Ollie Sale or Alex Paulson the game against Tunisia, or would you stick with Max Crocombe?
Yeah, I would. I think I thought Max Crocombe was really good, and it earned his spot, to be fair, for the next game. But why not see how the others go? As I mentioned before, they're surely they're building towards the World Cup in 2026, and they want to see as many players as they can, give as many opportunities as they can. So, I know that's far out, but why not? We know what Ollie Sale can do. He used to have the number 1 jersey for the All Whites. We know what Alex Paulson has done this season. So, yeah, no reason why not to give one of them a shot. I
reckon he might give Alex Paulson a debut.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know that to be true. I don't know anything other than just a gut feel. But I said on the pod last week, I think it would be tough to give Alex Paulson a debut against Egypt, in Egypt, within in front of a massive Egyptian crowd. But I kind of feel like now this might be the time to give him a debut. The pressure's off a little bit. Yes, they still want to win, but it's a quality opposition with a quality all-white side in front of him. I just wonder whether it might be the time for Alex Paulson's debut. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe it is, and maybe had they been playing Croatia, Ollie Sale would have got the opportunity. That probably sounds right. So it might make sense. I feel like, Chief Giancarlo Italiano, the Wellington Phoenix coach, would be worried. I would be worried if Alex Paulson. I really want him to take the park, but I just really want him to come back safe and uninjured. But it would be epic considering the season he's had for him to get his debut, and he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where it's if he doesn't play, then there's the sigh of relief from the Wellington Phoenix part of us. But if he does, we're wrapped for the player, because yes. I think I think we all know at some point he's going to play for New Zealand, and he may play for New Zealand for a very, very, very long time. Other outfield players who didn't get on in game 1: Alex Rufer, Lucas Kelly-Heald, Finn Sermon, and Tommy Smith. I'm not sure how any of them forced their way, and maybe Finn Sermon gets a game at centre back. Alex Rufer was a late call up, so I'm not sure that he gets there ahead of anyone else. And as far as the subs who came on, who might get a start: Ben Old, Ben Wayne, Costa Barbarouses, Tyler Bind, and Eli Just. I think Ben Wayne might start. Max Mata had a good game, but I think, if you're looking for a replacement for Chris Wood, Max Mata and Ben Wayne are both in that mould. So I think if you've given Mata a chance, you have to give Wayne a chance.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about giving these players opportunities and minutes. At the same time, you want to keep, a consistent formation and players out on the park so they can start to gel together. But there's no reason why, where it is essentially a friendly, there's no real prize in this match, why we can't see a little bit more rotation. So, yeah, like to see Wayno get on, and I'd love to see some more of Ben Old and Costa Barbarouses working together, because we know again what they've done this season. Yep,
Darren Bazley with a few selection issues, which is what you want. They always say that. The best headache for a coach is a selection headache, so let's see how they line up against Tunisia when they match up against them, also in Egypt, on Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock New Zealand time.
Football Fever, powered by News Talk ZB.
Let's finish with a look ahead to the Wellington Phoenix men. I've always forgotten about this team. I had to check this morning where they were on the table. I didn't really. I knew they were top by 3 points from the Mariners, 8 points ahead of MacArthur in third. They play Brisbane Roar this coming Sunday, Easter Sunday. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. I understand the reason why it's 1 o'clock is because Brisbane will go home that same night. They requested that the game was early so they could get to the airport and fly back home to Brisbane that night rather than spend the extra night here. So that's a 1 o'clock kickoff on Easter Sunday. The Phoenix, I think I mentioned this last week, they need 8 points from their last 5 games to ensure that they finish in the top 2, and they might not even need the 8 points depending on other results. They now only need 4 points from 5 games to ensure that they're in the top 4. So that feels very likely. It feels to me, though, Bonnie, as though this is now a top 4 shuffle of the sides because the Phoenix play the Mariners, MacArthur and Victory in the run-in. So they've got the chance to impact not only their own destiny, but the destiny of the other sides chasing places in the top 4.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's not an easy run for the last month of the regular season, but, they're in a really good position. They've come off a big win at Eden Park, and compared with the women, that they couldn't control, that, it was out of their hands, whereas it's certainly in the Phoenix hands. So, they have everything to lose, really. The pressure is surmountable, but, It's not going to be easy, that's for sure, and I'm really excited for the next month.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, the run-in is just so much fun, if that's the right word. I think if you're a neutral, it's fun. I think if you're a Phoenix fan, you're probably biting your nails for the next 5 games. Brisbane on Sunday, then they play the Mariners. Huge game. That could, in fact, decide the Premier's Plate, which is the piece of silverware for finishing top of the regular season. The Mariners play Sydney FC this weekend. That's not easy, and that is in Sydney, or at Sydney's home stadium. It's not very far for the Mariners to go, but it's a home game for Sydney FC. Then it's that game the following Saturday night, April the 6th, in Gosford, where the Phoenix and the Mariners play one another. Then for the Phoenix, it's Victory at home, Newcastle away, MacArthur at home to finish. Top 6 is inevitable. Top 4 seems very likely. It's just we're in the top 4 now. That's how it feels to me. I don't know what you think.
Do you think it's going to come down to the last game whether the title will be decided?
Potentially, yeah. I think that game, I think the Mariners-Phoenix game will have a big bearing. Mm-hmm. But having said that, the Phoenix then still have to play Victory and, as you say, MacArthur. So, I think I don't think the top 4 will be set in its right order until after the final weekend of matches. I think teams will go into and also further down. I mean, normally when Phoenix fans are trying to work out how the Phoenix can make the top 6. Normally it's like the Phoenix are 8th or something like that, and how can we squeeze in? How can we make the top 6? I mean, that's now, like I say, almost mathematically impossible now to fall out of the 6. So it's actually a different kind of maths we're doing now.
No, absolutely. And we've been trying to work it out for some time. I feel like, I'm going to have to head out of this recording studio and go and ask the boss if he can fly us to that Central Coast Mariners game, because I just feel like we have to be there, Piney. We could do a live show and everything. But their season, it's just so funny how well their season's gone on the first season of our podcast, Piney. It's like they just knew that football fever was coming and they needed to put on a show. Yeah,
I wonder whether there is a correlation there. I hadn't thought of it that way, but now that you mention it, it might have something to do with it. Yeah, look, it's an exciting time for Phoenix fans. The women will wrap their season on Saturday, as I say, against Western Sydney, and hope to bring the curtain down in positive fashion. And then we can give our full focus to the men over the last 5 weeks of the regular season and then on towards the playoffs as well. An exciting month or so ahead. And let's not forget also the Football Ferns with their games and on towards internationals for both our men and women in the middle part of the year as well. Thanks, Bonnie. Always great to chat football with you. Have an excellent week, and we'll chat again next Monday.
Another big week, Piney. We'll see you then.
Football Fever. For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.